Are you ready to enhance your grammar skills and boost your writing confidence? Whether you're already a grammar pro or just starting out, there's always room for improvement, right? Hi, my name is Sarah. Welcome back to the WhyKnot Academy. By the end of this video, you have the tools to easily spot grammar mistakes because I've categorized them. This will heighten your awareness, making you more attuned to these mistakes and therefore less likely to make them in your English usage. The more you practice identifying these mistakes, the more intuitive it will become. Of course, I'll provide clear explanations for why these mistakes are wrong and how to correct them. Understanding the why behind each mistake is the key to spotting them effortlessly. Now, before we dive in, I just want to stress that making grammar mistakes is a normal part of your learning journey. Every learner, when tackling a new language, encounters them. The good news is that each mistake brings you closer to mastering the language, so it's a positive learning experience. In this video, I'll address common mistakes that my students often encounter on their English learning journey. I'll illustrate these mistakes with plenty real-life examples, showing how these mistakes often appear in written and spoken English. By examining these examples closely, you begin recognizing similar patterns in your own writing and conversations. Together, we'll improve your grammar skills. Let's find out if you've made these mistakes too. Are you ready to get started? Let's kick things off with the first common mistake. Take a moment to examine these sentences and try to identify what's wrong. If you've got a hunch that something's off, you're definitely onto something. I'll give you a quick 5 seconds to think. So, what's the first common hiccup we're facing here? It's the subject-verb agreement issue. In these sentences, the subject doesn't agree in number with the verb. In English, it's essential to make sure that the subject and the main verb agree when it comes to being singular or plural. For example, students is a plural noun, so it should be paired with the plural verb hope without the S. Here's an easy tip for you. Always pay attention to whether your subject is singular or plural. If it's singular, the verb should also be singular, and vice versa. All right, let's shift gears and examine these sentences. Can you spot the issue this time? Take a quick moment to ponder. The problem we're facing here is misusing articles. In these sentences, we've got a case of articles not quite fitting in where they should. Let's break it down. Number one, here we're talking about fashion in general, not a specific fashion. So it should be, she has a strong appreciation for fashion without the definite article, the. Number two, instead of the apple, it should be apples, since we're not referring to a particular apple. Number three, the before advice is unnecessary. It should simply be, I need advice about my career. Now, here's a helpful tip. Articles can be tricky, but a good rule of thumb is to use the when you're talking about something specific and omit it when you're speaking in more general terms. By the way, mistakes in articles can be a topic for a standalone video because trust me, articles can be quite the puzzle, especially for many of my Asian students. It's one of those aspects of English grammar that can be a bit elusive. Quick suggestions? First and foremost, practice, practice, practice. The more you read and listen to English, the better you become at recognizing where articles should or shouldn't be used. It's all about exposure. Next, pay attention to context. Is the noun specific or general? Is it the first time you're mentioning it, or is it something already known? And lastly, learn from your mistakes. Don't be discouraged by errors. As I said, they are a natural part of acquiring the language. When you catch yourself using the wrong article, take note of it, write it down in your notebook, highlight them, and practice getting it right the next time. Anyways, if you're interested in diving deeper into the world of articles, let me know in the comments. It's a topic that deserves its own spotlight. Until then, let's move on to our next common mistake. All right, time to tackle our third common mistake. Take a moment to examine these sentences and see if you can spot what's iffy. The issue here is incorrect word order. In particular, the order of adjectives. In English, we have a specific order for adjectives that we generally follow. Opinion, size, age, shape, color, origin, material, and purpose. Interestingly, even some native speakers might not be aware of this order, but when these adjectives are out of order, it can sound odd to native speakers. Just saying. So, in the first sentence, beautiful, which is an opinion, should come before red. And in the second sentence, big should come before old. It should be a beautiful red velvet dress and a big old brown wooden table. Here's a handy tip. If you're ever unsure about the order of adjectives, try rearranging them using this mnemonic as a guide. It can help you get the order just right. Here comes the fourth common mistake. Take a look at these sentences. What do you notice? Anything sounds off to you? You might be onto something. In these sentences, the common mistake is double negatives. According to English grammar, double negatives typically cancel each other out, making the sentence affirmative. For example, sentence 1, the double negatives can't and hardly creates such a confusion. To correct it, you should say, I can hardly wait for the weekend. Similarly, in sentence 2, the double negative don't and no cancel each other out. To make it grammatically correct, you should say, I don't need any help with my homework. Now, there are exceptions to the rule where double negatives are used for emphasis, such as in certain cultures or song lyrics. However, for formal English and exams, it's crucial to use single negatives to convey your message accurately. So, while exceptional cases do exist, my primary focus is on teaching you accurate grammar. I just want you to be aware of the exceptions by mastering the basics first. Great job, everyone! You've been paying excellent attention and picking up these mistakes. Keep it up as we're about to dive into the fifth mistake, and I know you're up for the challenge. Let's examine these sentences and see if anything stands out to you. The issue here is the incorrect use of I and me. Generally, use I when it's the subject of a sentence, and we use me when it's the object of a sentence. However, when you're not sure whether you're the subject or the object, here's a handy trick you can use to decide whether to use me or I. Remove any additional nouns and see if the sentence still makes sense. Take a look at this sentence. If you take away the other subjects, replace them with I and me and see which makes sense. I am taking an English class with Miss Sarah, or me am taking an English class with Miss Sarah. Obviously, you know the answer. In English culture, it's common to put others first before I, so it's more appropriate to say he and I instead of me and him. Also, another handy tip, if the sentence is still ongoing and there's more to it, you should use I, like in sentence 1. On the other hand, if you need to choose between I or me as the last word in a sentence, like in example 2, it's always me. It is very common for native speakers to use me in subject position and I in object position. Just want to say this is fine in casual speech, but should be avoided in formal writing. What do you notice? Is there anything that doesn't sound quite right to you here? In these sentences, the issue lies in the wrong use of prepositions. I must admit, prepositions are tricky little words, but they play a crucial role in English. They show the relationship between different words in a sentence. Sometimes certain words naturally pair with specific prepositions. Instead of trying to explain all the rules, it's often best to memorize these combinations. Here's a helpful hint. Focus on the prepositions commonly used with specific verbs or adjectives. Over time, you become more familiar with the correct prepositions to use in different contexts. This kind of awareness will help you avoid common preposition mistakes like the ones we've discussed here. Here are some more examples. Different from, keen on, afraid of, addicted to, eager for, fed up with. Okay, now analyze these sentences. Can you identify the issue at hand? In these sentences, the problem is the inconsistency of verb tenses. Maintaining proper verb tense consistency is essential for clear and coherent communication. When discussing events, actions, or states, it's crucial to stick to a single tense throughout a sentence or paragraph. Changing tenses midway will likely lead to confusion or an unclear message. Here's a practical tip. Pay attention to the timeline of events in your writing or speech. Ensure that all verbs align in tense to accurately depict the sequence of actions. This will ensure that the meaning you intend to convey remains clear and logical. Now, check out this sentence. Anything wrong? Surprisingly, no, it's a correct sentence. Did I trick you there? Obviously, we can use different tenses within a sentence as long as they convey the intended meaning and are logically sound. As in this case, you have to make the cake before you can eat it now. Let's dive into the last common mistake. Sentences, please. Can you spot what's wrong? Read closely. The problem is the confusion of homophones. Homophones are words that sound the same but have different meanings or spellings. Mixing them up can lead to confusion and misunderstanding in your writing. So the correct answers should be, my dog eats all vegetables except kale. I know the principal. He's very nice. For some reasons, my stationery is missing. Here's a handy tip. Always double check words that sound the same but may have different spellings or meanings. Proofreading your work carefully can help you catch these sneaky mistakes and ensure your writing is clear and error-free. Thank you everyone for taking the time to explore these common mistakes with me today. Mastering a language is an ongoing journey, and making mistakes is a natural part of it. Each mistake brings you one step closer to improvement, so don't be discouraged. The key to language awareness and fluency is exposure. The more you read, listen, and engage with the language, the better your understanding will become, guaranteed. Keep practicing, keep learning, and soon these mistakes will be a thing of the past. If you found this video helpful, please consider giving it a thumbs up and subscribing to my channel. Your likes and comments guide me in tailoring my content to your language needs. I appreciate your suggestions and look forward to hearing from you. Until next time, keep striving for excellence in your English skills, and I look forward to sharing more language tips with you. Stay tuned. If you like this video, you might also like this one. I'll let YouTube choose for you. I wonder what it recommends. Have a great week. Bye for now.